We had a tough night on Saturday night, and I'll tell the players all the time. Usually during the course of a game, there's about 4 plays that can determine the outcome in a football game, and you would hate to be on the good side of those plays. Unfortunately, we wasn't. We had a turnover late in the second quarter. We had 2 unnecessary penalties, especially the one on the punt that allowed them to put the ball in our own territory late on a 15-yard personal foul. Things like that, it's hard to overcome. And plus, early in the ball game, we fumbled, and that's kind of like a momentum killer right off the bat. And I think we started 3 straight drives or so, backed up from the 10 all the way in. And no football team want to be backed up like that on 3 straight possession, and that's tough when you're trying to get out of your goal line. And we got caught in that. Got to give credit to Alabama A&M for playing the way they did. I thought early the defense showed a lot of flash and played hard, but you can't keep them out on the field as much as we did in some crucial times. And sooner or later it catches up with you, and that's what happened.
Talk a little bit more about the defense. Obviously, it kind of came to fruition. You guys played pretty well, though, on Saturday.
They did, and I said that the defense played hard. I think offensively we could have had a couple drives to give them more rest, which we was unable to do. They probably would have played a lot better than what they did. We put them in some tough position, having them to try to put more pressure on the offense of Alabama A&M at times that we wish we didn't have to do that. And I think Alabama A&M took advantage of it on a couple of times. But if we had allowed them the opportunity to play the way that they was playing early, I think the outcome could have been much more different.
Struggling offensively, obviously, at first game. What can you do? What are you going to do this week to try to jumpstart those guys and just get them back into a little bit more of a rhythm?
Well, we did struggle, but like I say, when you backed up 3 straight drives, there's only so much you can do from an offensive standpoint. Because number one, you can't be as creative as you'd like to when you backed up like that. I think we was fortunate enough to get the ball early in great field position. We've been able to use more of the offensive scheme that we was looking to do. But when you got to go in there with 2 tight ends and 2 backs and try to get away from the goal line, it's a little tougher. But I still say that we got to do a better job when we do have an opportunity to sustain some drives and make the right calls offensively and be able to execute. A couple of times we had an opportunity, we had some key breakdown on quick passes where, you just get the ball out of your hand. When a quarterback gets sacked on quick passes, something up front is not going well.
Coach, as you put that game behind you, look forward to ULM. It's thoroughly scouting report on the Warhawks.
Well, I did put this game behind me. We just got out of a meeting with the coaches, and that's one of the things that we talked about. And going down to Monroe, we all know that, we both coming off losses. They played the University of Oklahoma, which has been a premier top 10 contender for the last 10, 15 years. And, they coming off a loss, and we know what kind of team they do have with 18 starters back and probably one of the premier quarterbacks in the country. We got our work cut out for us. Today we'll get a chance to really look at them on tape, what really transpired there, and I'm sure they're going to do the same thing to us, and we got to go out and try to be a better football team than we've been, and I think they feel the same way.
You know a thing or two about quarterbacks. What makes Colton Browning good?
Colton Browning is a very, very deceiving type of guy. I had an opportunity to play against him when I first got here in 2011, and he does some things with the football. He gets it out of his hand as quick as anybody. The offense is basically tailor-made for him because he knows how to get the football out of his hand, but he also know how to elude the defenders. A lot of times, you rushing him and he get in that throwing motion and really don't throw the football. And if you go for the jump ball, the next thing you know, he don't move away from you. He's going to either throw the football or he's down the field. Very smart guy. You watch him play, and you see why they've been successful with him.
In the past, you haven't been a big fan of this matchup. Has your tune changed at all?
Still don't make me a fan of the game. This game was scheduled before I got here. But at the end of the day, it's scheduled. We got to play it, and I think we got to look at it for what it's worth. I know the new AD, say he'd like to be able to play Tech and Grambling, and because the game is already scheduled, we got to play the game. So we got to look at it as an opponent. That don't make me a big fan, but it does make me having to coach against them, you know. And I got a lot of respect for what they did last year. You know, I thought Coach Berry did a wonderful job with ULM. I hadn't seen a team at ULM since the Stan Humphries days, and I think it's good for the North Louisiana for somebody to be able to represent us the way they did last year. But at the end of the day, I think for the fans' sake, especially ULM fans, and I think some of Grambling fans, a lot of them are not happy the way things went down in 2011. So I don't know whether they're coming back or we're losing, but at the end of the day, a lot of them do like this football game.
You said before the season that some of the young guys on this team are going to have to grow up in a hurry. You think Saturday night helped him to see exactly what you were talking about?
I think, I just got through talking about this defensive front. You know, we had 2 freshmen and 2 sophomores started, and the 2 freshmen, they never been in a situation like they was in Saturday. They played football at their high school, but I don't know whether they played it at this speed for this long and having to stay on the football field as much as they did. Certainly hope that they understand what we're going to be asking of them, and they might have to do it again. So, yes, they have to grow up, and I think when you take Trey Goins and you take Trenton Scott, 2 freshmen on the offensive line, played the whole football game. And for us, it's good experience until our starter guys come back. But at the same time, to give them an idea of what it's all about.
Where do the running backs stand? I know Martin fumbled and he didn't receive a carry. Yeah, I think he had a screen pass. But going forward, how's the reps going to pan out Saturday?
Well, right now, to be honest and straightforward with you, it's Cedric Skinner and it's Justin Kelly.
Why those 2?
Those two demonstrated what we're looking for. A guy that don't mind running downhill, has no mentality of trying to get outside and run the football like we want him to be ran. And ball security.
Speaking of Kelly, I think this game really helped him to understand what he's going to face in the college game too, huh?
Well, you know what? Kelly coming here, man, is one of the quietest guys on this football team and probably has been one of the most surprised, not only on offense, but on special team. I was talking to the special team coach, and he was ultimately surprised and happy the way Kelly played on the special team, on the kickoff team, return team. And you talk to that kid, man, he don't have much to say. He's just a football player.
You had to rework your offensive line last week because of injuries a little bit. How does that situation stand in this game?
Well, Justin Miller probably still won't play. Last week he got rolled up on Wednesday. When you lose your right starting tackle 2-3 days before the game, that's not good. He probably be out. Milo still got some paperwork that we hope come in on Tuesday from Navarro. Hopefully we can get that in, and then if we do that, we'll have most of our offensive line intact, but Justin probably won't be back for probably another week or 2.
You mentioned after the game that Martin had fumbled a few times in practice last week, but previously, before that, in like either spring or fall, has that been an issue at all with him?
Martin had fumbled the ball a couple of times last year in some crucial situations. He had a couple of fumbles in the spring. You're talking about a converted quarterback into a running back, and not to him. We might have to rev him up, let him play a little fullback. But right now, ball security is important, and he hadn't demonstrated that he's going to secure the football the way we want him to be secured.
Going into the game, did you know that he was going to be on a short leash? Like if he fumbled, that was it?
No.
Or did you make that decision at the time?
No, it was the timing, the crucial timing. If he had been tired and been running the ball the way we wanted to run it and he fumbled, excuse me, that's excusable in a way. But you don't fumble the first time you touch the football. You treat that like a little baby or something, and somebody trying to take it away.
How important is it to get the running game going? You said, I think it was media days, talked about Joe Gibbs and how he told, he'd always preach that if you could get 150 yards a game, you'd be in a good situation. You're less than 3 yards a carry on Saturday.
It's very important to run the football. We're not a team that just go out and just, from the first snap, just throw the football, because I think, you want to control the football game. And we was unable to do that because of certain situations, like I said earlier, backed up. But I'm still a firm believer if you can run the football, you can do a lot of other things.
But how much did it have to do with your the lack of a passing game as well? I think you guys actually had more rushing yards than passing yards.
Yeah, but you can't pass the football if you can't run the football because defense not going to respect you as a passing as a running team. You ain't running it. They know we got to get to the passer. And if you notice, when it was time to pass, it was in some crucial situations, long yardage and things like that, because we was unable to run the football. But if you can run the football and you gain 5 here and 6 there, now you put the defense on their heels. You can do whatever you want to do, play action, bootleg, do whatever you want to do from the passing game. We was unable to do that.
Is it frustrating when the offense can't really help the defense out? You mentioned how the defense played well, but it's they're on the field so much. Offense wasn't really helping them out with short drives and everything.
It's very frustrating from a coaching standpoint, especially from my standpoint, because at the end of the day, you want all cylinders of your team, offense, defense, and special team, operating at least decent enough to give everybody an opportunity. When your offense don't sustain drives, you put the defense back on their heels again, and we did that the other night. That's one way we got to do it. And you look at the time of possession. The time of possession wasn't that much different. I think 31-28, but I think our short drives. The first quarter we had the ball about 10 minutes. Full quarter they had the ball about 10 minutes, and I think that was the difference. The full quarter was probably the difference because they did not allow our offense on the field with 2 possessions compared to how long they held the football.
I noticed in certain situations, I think it was on the 4th down, they had a big completion, and then on the touchdown late, I think it was in the 4th quarter, y'all went, when they had 2 wides, y'all were in man coverage without a safety. What kind of game plan do you have going into ULM, just knowing that they're going to probably like to throw the ball with Browning?
You talking about defensively?
Yeah.
We talked about that this morning. I think we put our defense in a position to blitz more than they really wanted to, because you're trying to put pressure on the team. You're trying to get the ball back. I don't know whether or not we'll play the way we played this past week. We really hadn't sat down and talked about it, but we did bring that up in there about probably blitzed a lot more than we expected to this past week.
You said you don't like the game, but do you think the players are putting any extra pressure on themselves to perform better with it being the local game?
No, because we don't let them put the hype of this game. We look at it as a football game. We look at it the fact that we got to get better no matter who we playing. I think that's the most important thing. And at the end of the day, for us, the game that we just played is a lot more important than this game that's coming up. But that don't mean we lay down. We got to go and play it, and we want to play the best that we're capable of playing.
Peoples had a good game for you in the secondary. Did a little bit of everything: 10 tackles, sack, interception in the 4th quarter that set up the touchdown. What have you seen from him, and what has he kind of been doing well this fall camp in the first game?
Well, Peoples a guy that coming in the spring, we talked about probably moving him to corner, and then we saw some of his work at safety, and talking to Coach Culpepper, talking to Coach Pearson, we felt like Nicholas Peoples going to be the guy that we've been looking for when we signed him. And I think what he's done, he's lived up to his billing. He's probably one of the better players in the secondary, along with Tyree at this particular time. And for him to only be a sophomore, I think that speaks volume for us.
Coach, I know you can learn a lot from a team in a loss. What was the vibe or sense you got in the locker room after Saturday's game?
Well, I think the most important thing is, number one, keep your head up. You got to you got a bunch of young guys. You don't want them to hang your head. You let them know it's going to be a lot of criticism outside the locker room, but you can't buy into it. That's the most important thing. If you can keep them away from what people say and what they say, you'll be all right. And I think we got a team that understands where I'm coming from because they had to endure it already. And as long as they do that, I think we'll be pretty good.
DJ was 6 of 20, 62 yards. How does he improve on that performance?
Complete more passes. And the offensive line got to give him more opportunities. When you're under constant pressure and you throwing in under crucial situation, no matter who the quarterback, it's going to happen. DJ know he has to get better. The offensive line know they have to get better. And the receivers know that they got to get better. So everybody got to work. That's what it's all about.
Is that something that you're pretty optimistic about, that they'll be able to?
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind. I do think we're going to improve. I think we got the people to improve. I think once we get the two young guys into the offense as far as receivers, that's Chad Williams and Verlin Hunter, who's been out for the last week and a half with a hamstring, that should be back this week. And Anthony McGee, who had a little injury this week, if he can come back, we'll be pretty good. I think eventually down the road that these guys going to understand what's at stake.